Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Demon Slayer, Season 1, Episode 11.
11, yes.
Alright, y'all. So, Tanjiro has set off with Nezuko.
Yes.
And has gone through quite the ordeal recently.
Indeed. But, most importantly, he has run into now Zenitsu, the blonde boy.
Zenitsu, the blonde boy who is begging a girl
to marry him,
his knees to marry him
because he's going to die
any day now.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah.
All right. I am very, very excited to see more of his character and how it plays out. Well, I mean, we already know how it's going to play out. There's no way this is going to work out for him.
She's not going to say yes.
No.
But
But how he potentially joins in our motley band of siblings here.
Yep.
That would be something I would like to see.
And maybe we'll get Boar Boy.
Maybe we'll get backstory as well.
Potentially.
You know, this is kind of the time where if you would introduce a new character to the party, you need to have them get a little bit of contextual stuff with their motivations.
Let us know who
why they would partner up with them. Not just because they're all demon slayers in this case.
Why they're even a demon slayer when they're freaking out this much about the fact that they could die any day.
Right.
So,
curious. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. All right. We've got Zenitsu and we've got Boar Boy.
We do.
We've got ourselves.
We do indeed.
We've got ourselves our two new boys.
Yep.
Get added into the dynamic here.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it? It's in a house of illusions and not illusions, but actual manipulation based on a form of sound and potentially a completely blind and maybe even deaf demon. One that at the very least was not perceiving anything that Tanjiro was saying, doing, or at all.
And there's a possibility maybe that it's because they were in a different room.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely seemed to be blind at the very least because of its eyes. And the fact that it couldn't really hear them does lend itself to that,
It's really interesting as well because it was like frustrated with the idea of its territory being like not treated with respect, this is my house and how dare they just keep trampling upon my place. There's this aspect where this demon feels way more human than most of the demons we've encountered thus far because it's just acting so different.
Yeah, because you would think that when other people go into the house, then it'd be like, great, I've got more people, like I can keep them sectioned off in some rooms or others or whatever, but I've got more people that I can hunt, right?
Yeah, it's a very helpful technique with regards to doing that.
Yep. But this makes it seem like he's not hunting indiscriminately. Like maybe it's not even for the sake of eating them, or maybe it is, but he's very picky or something like that. And he's like, this one, I want to eat this one, But those other ones, they're just, getting in the way, right?
The only way that people can get out of the house is through a non-door, a window. So that's why he was able to get out. So he's like, I finally got out of that dang house. The guy in the front, so he was able to get out there because it's a clear path.
So Boar Boy kind of just blitzed right through a ton of rooms. He's actually moving around and doing a good job. Although he was
probably so frustrated with this whole situation in place or what have you that once they kind of entered in, he's like, cool, I finally found something in here. I'm going to find whatever monster did this.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to destroy them.
Oh, man. I gotta say, also, I love the look of his swords, where the jaggedness of it is intentional, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
not Kenpachi sword.
Right, exactly. It's more like Renji's or something like that, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely a very... terrifying thing if it actually cut you or what have you.
Yes. But oh man.
So Zenitsu, he is dramatic Armin turned up to 13. Like, like we're not in 11 territory. This is we broke the dial. Like holy crap. Now I definitely can see where if he doesn't change a little bit at the very least, he could get annoying. He could get a little bit repetitive.
The reason why I think they'll be able to handle it in ways that will like address that, but also not change it, or at least so that they don't have to change it. They totally can.
Right.
And I think they will eventually, just from the fact that we saw him fighting in the OP, right? So there's going to be some point where he gets enough of a spine at least to fight a bit, right? You know, and that he can't do that without some courage or whatever, or even if it's nervous energy, it's a permutation of it, right?
Yeah, whatever he's got energy wise, which he does have a lot of, needs to be channeled into the right things.
One of the things that I think though they'll be able to balance it out really well is with Boar Boy. Because since this episode, in the parts where Zenitsu was the primary focus, he was the primary focus because they're introducing him as a character, right? Tanjiro barely did anything; he just looked on in disgust, which was great comedy. And then you know, so it was something where like he very much had the spotlight. Like Nezuko wasn't even in this episode.
Nope.
So when the show goes on and it's not just Zenitsu being introduced, I feel like they'll be able to counterbalance him with the other characters.
Right, and in some ways we've had examples of characters like this in the past that ended up becoming our favorite characters in different aspects.
Sure.
Like Armin, but also in some ways like Usopp. I would say Usopp might even be a better example of this.
Good old Usopp.
Because what was great about Usopp, and I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything like that, is that he definitely was a coward.
Less pathetic, but definitely a coward.
Less pathetic, but like 100% a coward.
Right.
And yet, there were moments where connections and relationships became more important to him than his cowardice. He was still incompetent in a lot of ways regarding that. So this idea of the incompetent coward can definitely be used here because there's going to be a little bit of a squad as well.
Yeah.
Like at least eventually. There's going to be moments though where he'll like you know put his goggles on, if you will,
exactly,
and just be like, all right, it's time to go. I would like to see that a little bit tied in more with his motivation. Now we found out that he's got some kind of a debt that got got attributed to him, or what have you, and he's needing to deal with it. But what's hilarious is that like the whole selection process and him becoming a demon slayer and what have you, that was something where he kind of wanted to die, which I love as the choice, being that he's not a fan of any of this. Right. He is like, no, demons? I did not know. That was a thing that I was very unaware of blissfully until recently. And now I've got to go hunt and kill them? Man. No.
I didn't sign up for this. I mean, he did, but not by choice.
So obviously his trope is very self-explanatory.
Yep.
Why was he introduced now, though? Because he was introduced earlier as a character, the OP, but we were able to be like, oh, that's the character from the OP when they showed the finale of the selection process. And if anything, he seemed like the bad luck boy, where he got the short end of the stick on a couple things. But here we're finding out that no, fear is something that has completely overtaken him in his personality. So we don't actually know if we're actually being introduced to him as he really is right now.
Sure.
As he really is. This might not be who he is. My point is that as he is right now, he is overcome with fear to the point that this might not actually be his real personality.
Right. And they could stick to this as his shtick.
Right.
But there could also be another side of him that we end up seeing later. Given in the ED that he goes from, fighting with Boar Boy, which that means conflict, right?
Yes.
So
he cares about something.
Right, he cares about something. And then he sees Nezuko, and then suddenly it's hearts everywhere, and he's, running towards her, right?
Right. So this is a boy that will develop.
Right. Yes.
And I think what they're doing here within this episode is that they're like, okay, we're going to get everyone involved here, so we can get a lot of cool, moments. But it's also a way to potentially build up both Boar Boy and Zenitsu, which means that instead of going the backstory route, they're going to do we're going to have a dramatic encounter of sorts that will call them up to that point where they can have an opportunity to, showcase at least the start of their development. So my guess is that the Boar Boy, if anything, is going to be the one that's probably the most helpful as far as actually dealing with this demon.
Oh yes, yeah,
and what have you.
He's ripped and shirtless and a badass and dual wielding crazy swords. Yep.
And he's probably also going to be the one that's not going to get anywhere with actually defeating the demon. He's just going to be really helpful at charging in forward and doing his best.
Yeah, he's probably the one that's been causing the demon all this frustration.
Right, yes.
Where he'll just be like,
and this demon's like, why won't he just leave me alone? I'm trying to be I don't want to deal with you.
I'm trying to just eat one person every 2 weeks in peace, why can't you understand that?
Right. But what I really want to have happen is that Tanjiro actually solves the puzzle of kind of what's going on here. But Zenitsu kind of drops it's just probably this. Kind of a thing like his hearing thing, where it's just a little skill that we're wait, Zenitsu.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap, maybe it's not about fighting with you. Maybe you understand fear in a special way to where maybe you can actually understand and understand where the demon is coming from or something like that.
This is a different personality trait, but there was something that I heard once where someone basically said, if you want a job to be done as efficiently as possible, find the laziest person you know and make them do it. Right? Because they'll figure out how to do it with the absolute minimal effort. They might even bend over backwards to make sure that they're using the minimal effort, right? So in this case,
if you grab the coward,
maybe he'll be able to, he can always just figure out where the demon is, right? And if the demon is the one changing the rooms, then maybe the demon is how they need to get out, right? They need to find out how to find the demon and kill him or make him... Or
its location might be tied in reality.
Yeah, so. Right, exactly. So even if the reality is changing, the demon is a constant, and then okay, now we can handle this, right?
Right.
Even if Zenitsu doesn't want to be any part of the actual fighting. And he might need to be convinced to actually point out once they realize, we're trying to get closer to the demon. It's the demon's that way, The Sparrow was adorable.
The Sparrow was absolutely adorable. One of the things that the girl said actually, I love it here. So she lays into him, slapping him silly. Just going crazy, and then being I just talked to you, and you freaked out and wanted to marry me. She says, with all that energy, you must be fine now, right? I was once writing a story. I was co-writing a story with a friend of mine, and we wrote a character, and she was lightning. If there was anything about her anime power, it was lightning. And the joke of it was that she had limitless energy. And when I say limitless energy, we're talking Genki to the umpteenth degree.
Truly 1.21 gigawatts.
Truly 1.21 gigawatts energy, and it was positive. It was something that would be just constantly excited and happy, and the joke of it was that when people were it's time to rest, she'd be I very much take time to rest as well. And everyone would look with doubt, no, you don't do that. And then her rest thing was that she kind of sat back and went, yeah, and then just went immediately back into it, and it was her long rest equivalent.
She rested for like 0.2 seconds.
She rested for like 0.2 seconds, and everyone had this moment of like, oh, it's quiet again. And then immediately, like 2 seconds
all right,
later,
done with that. Yeah.
All right, that was fantastic. And now, and that was an actual mechanic with her power, what have you. But I think that this is actually showcasing Zenitsu's power here. If he is just electricity, he has so much energy, so much passion into whatever he's focused on, that if he can just be course corrected like Bokuto style, onto the right thing, he's a god. Like, he is unstoppable. Yep, and that's going to be a cool, like, kind of needle on the compass kind of thing, where it's all like, woo, he just spins all the way around and he can't focus on anything. He's out of control.
And like you said, so you were like talking and in a semi-serious, semi-joking thing of like, if his power is that he uses all the energy just to run away, right?
Yeah.
But if he's running away from something into something else, then awesome. I would love to see a point where, and maybe we could get it in this arc because of the situation that they're in, where Zenitsu is actually trapped. He's surrounded. And he has to go through something in order to get out of something, right? And then it's something where it's just, and then he just finds whoever's the weakest, like if he's surrounded by a bunch of people, straight up, or whatever, right?
Something ridiculous.
But if there's a situation where he can't run without fighting somebody, he just sort of zeroes in with this killer intent on whoever is the weakest, and they're just like, wait a minute, and then he just destroys them, hacks them to pieces, and then runs. like if there's like a ton of demons, because like Tanjiro mentioned that he smelled many scents, like that the demon that they saw, that was the strongest. So there could be a bunch of other demons in here too, right?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I don't think he said that he smelled other demons, though. I think he just smelled things that he didn't really understand. So they go through, they're sharing the food, they end up going to here. So the demon scent is getting stronger a little, but there's something up ahead.
Right.
So you see the house.
Something I've never smelled before.
Yeah, this is a monster's house.
Okay, so maybe maybe it was that he was smelling Boar Boy. And
he was smelling Boar Boy. Yep, that's definitely what it was.
Okay.
Also, 100% headcanon, totally accepted. Boar Boy never showers.
Or at least Boar Boy has very bad BO. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the first 2 letters of Boar anyway.
Yep.
So, I had to go.
If we get something where he actually starts rolling around in mud, though, that would be a bit much, but it could be hilarious.
Okay. We have the kid that got out.
Holy
not
trauma,
the brother.
Batman. Like, yeah, it's not the brother, but like, geez, those kids saw that bloody body go flying out and then just splat.
And the whole thing of, am I still gonna die? Like, the idea that he's like, we have no idea how long he was in there.
Yeah. It could have been 6 months, essentially, of him being in there. Like who knows, right?
And just trying to get out.
Yep.
This is a nightmare episode in that regard, that going into this house is just a death trap. You should not be able to get out. Right. Also, yes, the idea that once he realized that he's not gonna go, and he's like, really? All right then.
They don't even show Tanjiro's face.
And then Zenitsu calls it an ogre face. Like, why are you making that ogre face?
But like, just even worse than everything that had happened before.
Right. And I have no intention of forcing you to. He's like, I said I'll go. Why are you being so freaky?
And then Tanjiro leaves Nezuko's box with the kids. Like, and that was a great like mechanical, thing of like, okay, these kids, they need to be safe, so I'm gonna leave Nezuko with them, right? And then if anything bad happens, the box, you'll be safe, right?
Right.
But then they hear the scratching from inside and freak out and go in with him. And it's just this wonderful way of basically upping the stakes in a way that makes sense for the characters.
Yeah.
When all the characters are trying to basically do the best thing and it ends up turning into the worst thing, right?
Because, and it's all based on fear.
Yeah, it's all based on fear. Because Tanjiro was afraid that they would get hurt.
Right.
So he does a thing to protect them.
Yeah.
They are terrified that they're alone and there's this thing that's scratching from inside, so they leave. Now,
But they go towards
the worst place. Now they're stuck in there. They're separated because Zenitsu got afraid and bumped him, and all that stuff. Now, not only are they separated, but they're down a person because Nezuko isn't in there with them, right? And they also don't have each other because now, not that Zenitsu would really be much help, but... so, oh boy. Oh boy. And I love that the brother, like Zenitsu starts freaking out, and then he starts like being like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Why do you have that sword on your hip? Like, oh,
that
man.
was amazing. I loved, though, the accidental butt bump leads to Tanjiro trying to catch the girl, which leads to them going into another room.
And then just...
And then they're gone. They're in a different location.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question here, Jacob.
Uh-huh.
Do you think there's any time muckery going on here?
No.
Okay, because there was a different lighting change at different points when they went through this. Watch this.
Okay.
So when they go through here, there's the light, right? They bump through. Sorry, my butt. Did you see all the light? The light change?
I think that might just...
See that? See that?
So yes.
They're hopping between different rooms.
Right. I think that could be because the walls are more like... They're not totally opaque because they're cloth and stuff.
Okay.
That little bits of ambient light could get through. So if they're in a house and there's like lamps or outside light that gets in, when they're in the dark rooms, they're in the deeper parts that are far away from any actual light.
Okay.
Because
I'm just saying it just in case it ends up being accurate in the future. There's not really much to go on here, but I'm getting the possibility that the reason why nothing goes between rooms has nothing to do with the rooms being in different locations, but he's literally in a different time. This is a really crazy theory, but it's the idea that there's something happening within this demon that's causing him to take ownership of this place and utilize its power, its blood arts, or what have you, to do something that constantly switches things up. But there's a reason why it's doing that independently of having all the our characters come in here.
Okay.
Which either is, I would say, one, it's looking for the rest of the prey that are in here.
Sure.
And it probably lost the brother. The brother is not with him right now.
Right, that is a great point. Yes.
So he doesn't know how to use his own power.
That might be because of Boar Boy.
It might be because of Boar Boy. Boar Boy, literally, separated them. And I think this is the reason, then, whatever the reason is why he's doing that.
Yeah.
I think that this demon is afraid.
Oh.
And I think that's why they introduced Zenitsu here. Is that they're going to do a parallel on fear here.
All right.
And that the demon is legitimately scared of Boar Boy.
Okay.
I want that to be the thing.
Well, one of the things that I've been wondering is if the blades, because the Nichiren swords can kill demons, right? They're able to stop demons' regeneration for when they cut something off. Or maybe it's when they cut the head off. I'm not entirely sure. But if Boar Boy ever met that demon, he would, pun very much intended, go ham on them, right?
Yes.
So the fact that the demon is still in one piece makes me think that he hasn't encountered Boar Boy, or, like you're saying, he's like, nope, I'm not dealing with you. You've got those swords, and then he just is popping himself into other rooms and whatnot. Yeah. And maybe that's Boar Boy's job. Boar Boy was originally given this job of hunting this demon, and he's just been looking for him in this stupid house, right? And oh man,
I just love it. Now, I don't think that there's anything showcasing that this demon is actually scared. I think if anything, he seems more angry and frustrated that he's dealing with this situation.
Right.
But the idea that he also completely ignores Tanjiro here is quite unique. Also, the idea that the change of when things happened, this, when the room flips, it doesn't change to a different room, it just rotates. It seemed almost as if he didn't know he was about to be attacked.
Right. Yes.
It was almost like it was random or luck, but I feel like that's the story actually keeping us from solving what's actually going on.
Well,
because if he did try to interact with it, would he have had to leave the room?
Maybe.
ending up separating himself from the girl.
Well, in a lot of ways, that would have been very bad if he then goes into another room and then, oops, the girl's gone. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those things where you don't just, like, have a rope, like, to connect you at all times. You, like, make sure that it's like, okay, we're about to go into a room. All right, both of us at the same time. All right, now, jump into the next room. And they'll probably do something, I'm guessing, where each of the different things on his body does something different within the mansion, right? So there's like one that changes what the rooms are. There's one that rotates them. There were like 4, maybe 5 on him. So, yeah, who knows what they all do?
Another theory: instead of him just switching things to stay away from someone like the Boar Boy here, what if it's to find something?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's something where he keeps like looking through the areas there, and he's like, I gotta go find the prey that I got.
Right, like the brother. Yeah.
Right. So he's not doing this to, keep them away from him. Maybe he's completely untouchable based on the room or area he's in.
Oh, Tanjiro mentioned that when he saw a Boar Boy that he's wearing a boar's hide. Now, so does that mean then, I guess that would make a lot more sense. But for some reason, when I saw him in the ED, I assumed that he was just an anthropomorphic boar with just the head switched. If it's something where he actually wears a boar's head...
Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
That becomes a whole nother kind of awesome, because that means this guy is so tryhard. Like, it makes me think of Talzin's character where it's the... My name's Owlbear. I wear owlbear skin. Like where he gets so into it. And why a boar? Why not something cooler? Like, a wolf or a bear or whatever. No, a boar. Like, all right.
Maybe there's some spiritual connotation to it. I don't know. But I love it. So, y'all, that's the intro bit to this fight, this encounter, this situation. So if you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yes, that's right. So I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's really cool. It's called Battle Lines, and it's on Amazon. Link in the description down below if you want to get it. It's in both hardback and ebook. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.